Rod over here with another Take 5, and this is part 3 in a little series I like to call Peter's Pause. And we've been examining this situation on the Lake of Galilee after Jesus had rose from the dead and reappears the third time to them. But something interesting had been going on. Peter was there at the lake, his boat in the water, and he says, I want to go back to fishing. And we know that 6 others, making 7 out of 11, jumped in the boat to fish. And some scholars talk about that. Some believe that Peter was disillusioned and saying, I'm going back to my fishing. Now, how serious he was, we don't know. We all say things from time to time based upon our measure of depression or our measure of how bummed we are. Sometimes we say things we don't really mean, but we're letting our feelings out. Perhaps that's what Peter was doing. But then he sees someone on the shore that says, hey, look, you haven't caught any fish, put the net on the other side. They do it, they catch a bunch of fish. Boy, that brings back a memory. John says, look, it's Jesus. Peter jumps into the water. And we pick it up on verse 12 of chapter 21 of John. Jesus said to them, come and have breakfast. And when they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you truly love me more than these? Some have discussed what the these means. Is he talking about the other disciples? Is he talking about the fishing? Not quite sure. But all of us have, quote, these in our life. There are those things that all of us have that Jesus has to look at us from time to time and say, do you love these more than me? Basically, he was saying to Peter, do you love me? And he used the word there, agape. And Peter gives an interesting answer. Yes, Lord, you know that I. And the NIV says love you again, but in reality, the Greek there is phileo, which isn't the word for agape love. It means to like a lot. Some scholars say, it doesn't mean a lot, but I think it does. I think there's a subtlety here that we must hear. Jesus says, do you love me? He says, I like you a lot. Okay, then feed my lambs. Again, verse 16, Jesus said, Simon, son of John, do you truly love me? Agape. And he answered, yes, Lord, you know that I. Once again, he uses phileo. I like you a lot. And Jesus says, take care of my sheep. The third time he said to Peter, Simon, son of John, do you, and he uses phileo, do you even like me? Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time, do you like me? And he said, Lord, you know all things. You know that I phileo you. And he said, then you feed my sheep. Now, this is interesting because I think we've all found ourselves in this position. There are some hurtful things in our life. There's some stress we're under. There's some things we just don't quite understand. There is suffering. There is circumstances beyond our control. And within the recesses of our mind, if we would hear Jesus say, do you love me? God saying, do you trust me? Do you love me? And all we can muster is, well, yeah, I really respect you. I really believe in you. And we fall a little short. We can't quite get it out of our mouth. We can't quite get ourselves there. And God knows that. He says he's a high priest that can empathize with our sorrow and circumstances. And he works with us. And he says, look, do you even like me? And that's when we have to stop, take inventory and say, yes, I do. A whole lot. And we have to be like that man that had the suffering child when he says, I believe, help my unbelief. And perhaps that's where you're at today. Maybe that's where I'm at. And we have to say, look, just help my unbelief. Help my like become love. Help me put you above all else. It's quite a lesson to learn here. This was all part and parcel of shaping Peter up into the phenomenal disciple he was to be. And the final words he says to him is, you follow me. And he would say that to you and me today. You bring your like, you bring what you can muster, you lay it at the foot of the cross, and you follow me. Let's do that today. There's nothing more important than that. You have a good day. Think about these things and see you next time on Take 5.